Hey guys, my name is Soulbud here, and with Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is right around the corner, I thought it'd be a good time to take a look back at the previous generation with Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Today, I'm mostly going to be focusing on the one feature from Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon that I absolutely enjoyed, and that's were the Alolan forms. Now, as I was recording, there are a total of 10 evolution lines to choose from when it comes to Alolan forms. Now with these 10 evolution lines, that basically means that we can make a total of about 5 best and possibly 5 worst. But for the sake of this list, I decided to do a top 5 instead. As now that I really look at it, there aren't exactly too many worst, to be honest. I would probably say about 4 are actually worst, while the rest are just meh at the most parts. And so here are my personal top 5 favorite Alolan forms. For this list, I decided to base it off a few criterias, that being their appearance, how they work in battle, and really just how much I actually really like the Pokemon. But with all that said, let's get on to the list. Number 5. Executor. Okay, I'll be one of the first to admit that on the first viewing, Alola Executor was a interesting idea to say the least. I mean, for one, the long neck is just a really weird design choice. But I mean, what else can you actually do with Executor? However, despite this, it's not the worst looking Alolan form. However, battle-wise, this thing is actually pretty useful in battle. For one, it has a really good move pool to actually start off with. And with the added Dragon type, this makes it a very, very useful Pokemon when using it in battle. I mean, heck, not gonna lie, I even started using it in Pokemon Go, and trust me, this thing is very useful. And I mean, way more useful than I originally thought. So with that, I decided to give it up 5 spots. Number 4. The Dugtrio line. Okay, another thing about Dugtrio is that it's a very interesting design. Just like Executor though, it's not one of the worst, in fact. Honestly, I would have to say it's actually not too bad. I actually really like the incorporation of the hair, as the hair is actually supposed to be based off of fire grass. Or lava grass. I'm not exactly sure, but I'll put it on screen. In turn, does give it the steel type, which I think is a pretty reasonable explanation. Even if this Pokemon makes it look like the band Hanson. In battle though, this thing is actually incredibly helpful. Heck, it even helped me during my whole fire trial. While yes, I will admit it was a tad bit cheating, I generally don't care. With a very wide move pool and its amazing ability, this thing is actually not that bad in battle. And yes, I've actually considered putting it on my team. For what it's worth, I highly recommend this Pokemon if you haven't already played these games. Number 3. Raichu. Okay, I'll be one of the first to admit that Raichu on first glance is bloody adorable. Now honestly, I wouldn't say it compares the original Kanto version in my opinion, but then yet again, it's my opinion. Even though I have a bit of a slight bias towards the Kanto form. Although this time around I actually really like the incorporation of its psychic type. As because this brand new typing is actually pretty useful in battle, and honestly surprises me that I have not used one yet. Have I considered it on my main team? Yes. But it was ultimately turned down for another Alolan Pokemon. Honestly, it surprises me how fast this thing is, along with its very excellent move pool. And once again, design-wise, this thing is actually really cute, thus landing its 3rd spot on the list. Number 2. Marowak. I remember back when I first saw this thing, I'll admit, it looked really, really cool. I mean, firstly, it turns to Fire Ghost, which I'll admit is a very, very clever type. I mean, just looking at this thing has some really, really amazing moves that go very well with this Ghost Fire type. I mean, seriously, this thing is very, very slick. And yes, once again, I've considered putting this on my team, and it was actually very close. However, the number 1 spot took its place. If you guys don't already know, You guys probably already know who number 1 is. Number 1, Ninetales. Okay, I know what you guys are saying. Silver, you're mostly putting this because Ninetales is your mascot. And yes, I will admit it, there's a little bit of bias into this entry. But gosh darn it, I can't help it. Firstly, the whole evolution line just looks absolutely majestic. Seriously, design-wise, this thing works. It absolutely works. Yes, unlike the other Alola Pokemon, where some of them do have to make extreme adjustments on why exactly they're the type, Alola Ninetales makes perfect sense. Especially since when you consider that it lived up in the mountains, thus explaining the ice type, and possibly the fairy. Plus, battle-wise, this thing is a bit of a slayer. Seriously, you have no idea how many times my Ninetales has actually come into use in battle. I mean, this thing is an absolute slayer when it comes to dragons. And plus, you cannot deny that Alolan Vulpix is absolutely bloody adorable. So for Ninetales for having an absolute best design, and possibly a very good move pool, this is why it made its number 1 spot on this list. And there you guys have it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this list, as yes, though it was a quick one, I decided just why not get this out of the way since it's almost that time of Sword and Shield coming out. And let's hope that there are more forms to be revealed in those games. But with all that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.